Just as we think we are done, we're at the door of the casino, ready to walk out. And of course, Wargaming strolls up and says, "Sir, would you like another free play before you go?" And being the addicts that we are, of course, we say yes. And boom, baby, we are right back in. We roll doubles. We're all the way at the top, living on the high. What is going on, YouTube? Aaron here, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And we have the Preussen here. 4x2, 457 millimeter guns, the top of the German tech tree line, at least on PC. They switched it up from the GK here. And yeah, we have ourselves a new legendary tier battleship to look forward to. Now, I'm not going to lie, if you saw my stream last night, and I actually have a video coming up here where I'm just getting a little burnout from Legends. And granted, any game you play every day for the last 6 years, that's going to happen. But I don't want to take away that fun and excitement for the newer players and those who have, still have a tremendous amount of interest in this game. So we're going to review the ship. We're going to play it if it comes out, and that is going to be that. But there was the trailer there. Robin just does an epic job with those edits. I mean, just look at that, man. That's pure class. But here's the wiki. I don't know why it's in Portuguese, or I believe this is Portuguese or Spanish. I'm not sure, but half of it is in English here, so we're going to read that part first, and then we'll go over the stats that I can decipher here. So the ship. The Preussen replaces the Grosse Kurfürst in the German battleship tech tree with attributes nearly identical to her older counterpart. With the same strong armor layout, poor maneuverability, large detectability, and accurate secondaries, that's questionable. The only difference between the two is the main armament and models of secondaries. While the GK features smaller triple-mounted guns, the Preussen carries larger twin-mounted guns, giving the appearance of an enlarged Friedrich the Grosse. Preussen excels at close-range combat with a turtleback armor layout protecting the citadel, long-range and accurate secondaries with improved penetration and access to hydroacoustic search to aid in dodging incoming torpedoes. And when you read a lot of these descriptions, and especially from the German variety, they seem like, and ideally they were in World War II, some of the strongest ships to ever roam the seas. But when it comes to Legends, they're just too slow and fat to really be all that effective. Now, the Schlieffen is slightly different, mainly because it's a little bit faster and just the armament of secondaries. But these ships, it's basically just going to be a GK with 457 millimeter guns. But we'll read the pros and cons, look at a few of the stats here, and then you guys can tell me how excited you are in the comments below. Of course, I'm always excited to try a new legendary tier ship. I just don't think this one's going to be what everyone wants it to be. But here are the pros. Better turret angles than Kurfürst. While not outstanding, her AA is better and a little more suited for self-defense than the Kurfürst. Good. With a base reload of just 24 seconds, that's pretty good. You get more chances of punishing exposed broadside. Yes and no, depending on her accuracy. You could shoot 10 times and still not hit, but 457 millimeter guns with 30 millimeters of overmatch. So the Hindenburg that was just released, yeah, we've got a, well, I say just released, that's in the marathon stage. We've got ourselves more ships to overmatch it. So just by the time that everyone gets the Hindenburg, there will be more ships to punch right through its armor. So if you can get hit, or if you can get hits with this thing. The cons here, the contras as it's listed, her broadside lacks the punch of GK, 120k damage versus 165 per salvo, which, again, the GK is not as bad as I want to make it seem, or a lot of the player base does. But it's just not good. So I think I'd rather play this with the potential of getting those larger hits than the GK. The dispersion and sigma value in combination with just 8 barrels per round can lead to rather frustrating salvos. So yeah, GK's 4 additional shells leave lesser gaps within a salvo, leading to more reliable damage. And this is honestly the best piece of text that any player who questions accuracy sometimes can read. I remember way back in the day when the Jean Bart first came out, there was this rumor going around that when you broke a turret on the Jean Bart, that it decreased its accuracy. And I was like, well, yeah, because you have less shells, right? So if you get 8 shells within that circle or the lips, right? Some of them are going to be good, some of them are going to be bad. And if you only have 4 now, the bad ones are going to look worse, and the good ones, you may only get 1 or 2 of the good ones, if that. So anytime you have less shells overall, if you don't have amazing accuracy, it's going to look really bad. But that is just something for you players to keep note of. Large, lightly armored superstructure allows for smaller caliber shells to penetrate instead of shatter or bounce, which we know to be true for the GK. Now, I wonder if they're going to give the same buff to the Preussen already implemented that they did to the GK, meaning they reduced or reallocated some of the health pool points. They took it away from the superstructure and potentially added it to different parts of the ship. So you're not so easily farmed from the superstructure, because as the 4th thing on this contras list here says, poor concealment, which is obvious. You're an office building with guns there, so the superstructure there is always an easy target for GKs. I have noticed that the GK is a little bit stronger, but it's still, not only, the ship is played really poorly, and on top of that, you need, the strengths and the playstyle of these ships is really dependent on your team, and honestly your flank. If you spawn shards B spawn in this ship, well, you can basically either kite around to one flank to get some island cover and push, wasting 8 minutes, or you can sail in and get torped, or potentially, if you have an aggressive team, you can make it work. But and that is part of the skill of these ships. Now, I think this ship is going to suffer in the same way that the GK and a lot of the other German battleships do. And granted, in real life, arguably you read all of these pros and cons. These things should be insanely strong, as we already mentioned. But something to note here as we go over the stats, the secondary range is 12.6. So a little bit longer as we look at the secondaries here. 10 by 2 pieces of the 128s. That's the AA there. I think this, no, they double as AA, but the range there on those secondaries is 8.3 base. So I think that with our commanders, I think we might even be able to get 12.5, 12.6. I think it's always a little bit less than it typically is on PC. At least our secondaries have been in the past, as well as our main gun ranges. But I think that recently they've been closer to matching the ranges on PC. So potentially the longest range secondaries in the game here. But let's look at our main guns, 457s with a 24-second reload. And with our commanders, we could probably get that down to 20 seconds. So even if they are rather inaccurate, you are going to be throwing lead down range rather quickly. So you couple that with brawler potentially, and yeah, you can get yourself, I'm sure, a fun brawling ship here. I don't know how effective it's going to be. Only time will tell. HP is 105,800. I think that is the most in our game. Vermont 103, GK 100. I know with different builds and sims and things like that, it can get higher, but I think it's the most. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. I believe Kremlin is the most on PC, and I don't think it's listed down here. Yeah, so turtleback armor, 60 millimeter plate. But I think that might be the most in the game so far. I'm blanking on Vermont or GK most. But anyway, 105,000, which of course with our builds and master mechanic and things like that, not builds, but inspirations, we can get probably up to 110 maybe, 112. Not exactly sure of those percentages off the top of my head, but I believe we can push the 110 region there with specific builds. Firing range is 20 kilometers there. It's probably going to be less on Legends. It typically is than PC, even though the FTG has a plus 20 kilometer firing range, which, fun fact, you can only see beyond 20 kilometers with RGA mod. So range of guaranteed acquisition, you can't see beyond 20 without that mod for some reason. So keep that in mind, which is just silly to me because concealment mod in 90% of the cases with ships is just a better mod to have. But in certain situations with smoke and things like that, you do want RGA mod. So AA defense, as we mentioned, is listed here. I have no idea what those say. Turning circle is 1,000 meters. Rudder shift? No, that's 30 knots and then rudder shift here. Yeah, and I have no idea what these say or mean for concealment. So yeah, we will definitely be interested or excited to play her when she comes out. As I mentioned maybe at the beginning of this, I made a video last night right before stream started, and you guys saw my little speech at the beginning of stream if you watched stream, where I'm just, I'm obviously moving into my career, trying to explore new ventures, trying to create a fitness social media, as cringy as that sounds, and I truthfully just don't have time for all of, to be the absolute best content creator for Legends. I'm not pulling a Durka, I don't, even though he's probably a lot happier than than I am right now, at least with Legends. But it's just getting to be a lot. So this is not like some farewell video, but I did want to preface that video with this. Like I'm still interested. The game still excites me, just not at the level at which it once did. And I don't want that to carry over into my content to push viewers away. I think that happened with other content creators where they were getting burnout, so they took it out on you guys. And I don't want that to happen. So if you're not enjoying the game, you can have your complaints, but sometimes I feel like, if I make videos that are all just negative, it just manifests. So instead of doing that, I'm going to try and remain somewhat positive. Now, of course, streams, we're just having fun on streams. I had a lot of fun playing with you guys last night, and I'm going to continue to do so when I feel that, I have the time. But this is a little notice that you'll probably see less streams and potentially less videos, even though I still enjoy doing these, talking to you guys almost. But that's going to do it for this one. The Preussen is on the way. Like I said, I'm excited. Hopefully it's not some bullshit marathon or something else. It's just either the campaign, which would be kind of cool, or a bureau project, even though I hate the bureau project, or I hate the bureau, rather. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.